I first heard about Jennifer from a random meeting on a plane of a lady who knew her very well. And this was one of those situations serendipitously where we exchanged seats. We started talking about things in common. I started talking to her about ideas I had for a medical clinic that merged traditional and non-traditional therapies. And she told me, you have to meet Jennifer. Go on her website, look up her work. I guarantee you have to meet her. She's a wonderful person, a healer beyond measure. And if you look her up, you will definitely go see her. And that's what happened. And so when I got back, I went by her store and she showed me the website of Jennifer's and just was enthralled with what was happening, what was being presented. The energy that you could actually get from a two-dimensional screen was unbelievable. So I definitely wanted to meet Jennifer. And a few emails later, I was in her suite and she sat and talked to me. And she talked about our mutual interest and things that we wish to see happen in the future of healing human beings. And we found that there was a lot of common ground. And then she probed deeply into my own past. And I must admit, I wasn't just coming to find out about Jennifer and what we could offer each other. I was coming to find out what she could offer me, because I was blocking in a certain area of my life. And I knew that if I didn't get beyond that block, that I couldn't be an effective healer. And I couldn't be an effective human being, father, you name it, whatever relationship was being affected by this block. So Jennifer probed into my past, deeply probed into my past, and she found all those tender areas, but she probes so gently and so carefully, and she pushes through only when she feels that the membrane is ready to break, and if it doesn't break, you can't stop. So when the membrane's ready to break, she gently pushes through, and that opens up a new field, and then you go to the next level. And ultimately, I found myself sitting in front of this wonderful young woman, going to places, I guess they call them the astral plane. Now, I'm not saying that in my meditative practices I haven't found certain states of consciousness that are absolutely breathtaking, but never in front of another person while she was actually talking to me could I find these spaces. Never could I go there and feel that peace and comfort and know that these were places I needed to go. And they were something as construct as a room and something as vague as an energy field. And I kept asking her questions such as, where am I? Because I didn't know. And she led me back into that safe space. And all I can say is that at the end of that conversation, there was a deeper understanding of who I was. I was exhausted, but the next morning I woke up with an energy and a purpose. Several of my physical symptoms were gone. Several of my mental blocks, my openness toward other human beings. Whatever I felt was a challenge, I knew that I could overcome that next morning. And that did fade a little bit over the next several days, I must admit, but it was something that I could touch. And then ultimately I participated in a group session of hers and found that that energy was in its own way a synergy between the others in the group and how we were able to build on each other's energy. And the next day after that, it was different. I was not exhausted, I was energized, and something so very subtle came in the next day when I stopped and paused and quieted my mind. I was able to find this energy that I think Jennifer touches, this energy that I believe is her healing spirit. And it was very vague. It was almost like a muse or a fairy that beckons to you. Come on. And as you got closer, the fairy flits away. And you knew that this is something that you must pursue. You have to. It is your destiny to pursue it. You could not stop it if you wanted to. And indeed, it's like the curiosity of a newborn baby holding something for the first time in his or her hand and looking at it in wonder and knowing that the discovery of this will lead to other discoveries. And that to me is what I see as the energy that Jennifer uses, something that we all can touch with practice. So I'm very excited about the possibilities of bringing together my traditional medical field and what Jennifer does. There's no doubt in my mind that she changes brain chemistry. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a powerful healing force. I tell my medical colleagues who block at using non-traditional medicine that we don't know what we don't know. We used to think, for instance, that seizures were the work of the devil. We used to think that illness, that cancer was consumption, that people were eaten inside by an evil force. So as we discover more science, we know that things that Jennifer has been doing are probably leaps and bounds ahead of what we're doing and ahead of what we are able to identify physiologically. So it is up to us to catch up, and it is up to us to be able to find new ground that we can work together to merge what we do, where we block in traditional medicine, where we can't heal, where we are unsatisfied and we leave unsatisfied patients. We find a way of getting energy to these people to perhaps help both spectrums of the healing forces work together. Because I can guarantee you that that merger of healing forces is the best thing for each human being that we treat. And we need to find a complement of which way those fit in. And it is our challenge, and the challenge that I have taken up and welcome, to be able to find this for healing human beings that are brought under our care. I look forward to this, and it's something that is going to be the next focus of my career, helping to help Jennifer find a way to meet traditional and non-traditional medicine. So people ask, what's it like? What does she do? Well, all I can say is that she probes. As I said, she probes gently and carefully, but she probes with a force. But there's this nature about her, this spirit, and I've tried to identify what it is, what her tool is, and her tool is unconditional love. There's no question. That's where this is coming from, and that's why it's such a safe place. And people ask, well, just asking questions, she can do it? She asks questions, she gets you into your own psyche, she gets you out of your own psyche, she gets you into places you've never been before. And if you'll be not fearful and go along, then you can find things you never thought you would before. And people say, well, is it like therapy? Does she just talk to you? Well, it's like extremely accelerated therapy. I would say that it's like 2 years of therapy condensed into 2 hours, if you had to ask me. And that's what I felt like, is that I would accomplish the same thing. I do yoga, and yoga does a certain thing. I do meditation, and yoga does a certain thing. But this is so far beyond yoga and meditation, in that it brings you into new states and probes into those tender areas in our psyche that need to be broken through so that we can heal in ourselves. And until we heal in ourselves and feel whole, then we can't reach out to the world to embrace it and embrace all the challenges that it gives with an open mind and an open heart, so that we can hold someone's hand, hold them with care and love, and let that energy that we're all given by our Creator to transmit that to others. And once we do that, then paying it forward becomes as automatic as taking a breath. So I have tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, and I've had it for 10 years, and it is very resistant to treatment. One of the hardest things to get rid of. There's no known treatments that work very well for this. It's tied to the 8th nerve damage. We really don't know why it happens, but both with the personal session I had with Jennifer and with the group session, my tinnitus went away for several days. In fact, it's still not hardly there at all, and only I listened to 2 hours of loud jazz music last night, and I woke up today with no tinnitus. So hey, what's up with that? So something has to happen, and I know that this is changing brain chemistry. It's changing brain function. We simply need to prove how that's happening. It is one of the most resistant symptoms to go away, and the research into tinnitus right now shows that it's brain noise, that it's basically a product of brain noise. And so if you can quiet the brain noise enough that you can get rid of tinnitus, then you can quiet the brain noise to get rid of a lot of self-inflicted anxiety related. And it's finding those physiologic measures, those baseline biological just postulates that we can see are changing in the environment to allow us to break through. And the whole point, Jennifer, is that there's no side effects. There's no downside. There's no toxin. There's nothing. The only toxicity is your failure to push through on your own.